Hi everybody, it's Christina. Happy Wednesday. So this week I wanted to talk a little bit about boundaries because I actually had something come up, a situation came up where I had to test my ability to set boundaries. And if you have been parentified growing up as a child where you had more responsibility than you should have at your young age and you had to take care of maybe your siblings, your emotional support for a parent, I feel like a lot of boundary setting is very hard, and I'm in my 40s and I still struggle with it, especially with certain people. My mother is, my Achilles heel, I like to say, because for her, it's like and this is me growing up, I did everything for her, right? When she was working, I made sure that she had stuff ready to go so that when she went to work the next morning, her aprons were there and they were, washed and laundered and ironed and ready to go. So yeah, there's a lot of that pattern that comes into adulthood. So on today's video, I wanted to show you a little bit about what happened with that particular experience and that situation and what I did and how I kind of paused and figured out the best way to handle that so that I could, move forward and feel good about where I was and the progress that I've made. So the situation was last weekend, my sister lives with my mom. They live together in the same city, kind of, but it's like further out. So I guess not the same city. So in the same general region. So I live like way east and she lives way west. So it's about an hour to go see her. So it's pretty far. But she lives with my sister, which I'm so thankful for because she always has a companion, right? My sister's always there. My sister works a lot, unfortunately, so she's always at home. She works from home though, so she's there, which is good. But yeah, so she's always there, and they don't always get along. They're kind of the odd couple, we say, of all of us. But it's good. I'm glad that she has somebody there. So that last weekend, my sister was going to Flagstaff with her friends, and I was so happy to hear this because I'm like, you need to get out of here. Like, you work so much, and she's got promoted to manager, and she's just like so stressed out all the time. So she ended up going to Flagstaff with her friends, which was awesome. But she was gonna go the whole weekend. So she was gonna leave Friday morning and not come back until Sunday. Mom was gonna be alone for the weekend. And what's interesting about my mom is she would always say like, oh, I can't wait, because they do fight. Like if there's anybody that tests my mom, it's this sister, right? Like she will give her a hard time and like, and for me, I'm like, I would never, because my mom is like, oh, on this pedestal. So for me, it's very hard, but my sister will challenge her. So, and sometimes my sister gets moody. And so my mom's like, oh, I can't wait till she goes somewhere so that I can be alone. So I always hear a lot of that dialogue. So there was a part of me that's like, you know what, maybe she's going to like welcome this. Like maybe this is going to be a good thing. But my sister texted me and was like, mom's gonna be alone this weekend. Your mom's not good being alone, So then right away that put that in my head of like, okay, ruh-roh, right? Like I'm like, oh man. So my immediate thought, and I feel like this would have been me before I started doing the healing, before I started taking care of myself, I would have said, okay, we're gonna drop everything. Let's just, all the plans that I have, and it's my boyfriend's son's birthday. It was my boyfriend's son's birthday that Saturday of that weekend. So I'm thinking like I have to be here for that, right? Like I can't just not be here. But again, in the old frame of mind, I would have probably figured out a way to say, let me drop everything and just go rescue, because she's going to be alone. She's going to be uncomfortable. Let me go and just stay there the whole weekend. And then maybe I'll say, okay, we'll celebrate your birthday, this next weekend, or, and that's so bad. Like, that's so bad, because honestly, the place that I was at that moment where I started getting that information from my mom and my sister was like, I have so much to do. Like, I have so much to do to get ready for this party. Or it wasn't really a party. Like, we had people, we had his mom, or his grandma, and her boyfriend. We went out to eat, and then we kind of came back and did cake. But still, there was so much I had to do, right? I had to get some of the gifts. I wanted to get like all his little favorite things for his birthday. So I had a lot on my plate, right? And I'm thinking like, I just don't have the bandwidth to try to like be over there and then be over here. And then it's so far away. So like every time I go, it's an hour there and an hour back, right? So, and the thing that I'm doing now, which is super helpful, is I'm stopping, right? I'm stopping and I'm checking in to say, how am I feeling? Like with this new information that I have, how is that making me feel? And honestly, there was like a ball in the pit of my stomach, because I'm thinking like, man, I have all this stuff, and like I don't really, and then, also, which is another part of my thinking that's changed, is I'm thinking like she's fine, like she is okay. And the thing is again, in the previous life, before healing, right, I would have said, she can't be, I don't want her to feel uncomfortable. That was always one of my biggest, the dogs are walking around. Especially my mom, right? Because my mom is like, again, so it's hard for me to see her uncomfortable. But at the end of the day, by rescuing, which again, I tend to do, I'm not giving her the autonomy and the ability to grow in that sense and feel like, and that's the mentality shift that did it for me when I started setting boundaries, because it's not about, for me, it was always about not being selfish. And so I'm like, no, I don't want to be selfish, right? I don't want to be selfish about my needs when I could go take care of her, and so she's not uncomfortable. But I flipped it and said, you know what? By you rescuing, you're robbing her. And then that flipped it in my mind to think like, oh, I don't want to do that, because I want her to grow. I want her to feel like she's okay being alone, right? And if I'm constantly there, I'm reinforcing that, mentality that, no, you're not okay. You have to be rescued, which I'm like, that's not good. So all of that happened, and I'll get it. It's kind of, it wasn't just something that happened this week, right? It's because I've had these conversations before, we've had these instances, but for this one in particular, again, my old way would have been, okay, let me drop everything, I'll figure out a way to celebrate with him later. All the things I need to do, I will do them later, whatever. I'm gonna go with mom, I'm gonna go sit with her and hold her hand to let her know that she is not alone, she's okay, I am here to rescue you. So yes, not what happened. So what happened was, I actually reached out to her and said, hey mom, I know she's leaving. I know this brings up some uncomfortable feelings. I do have this, and this. I'm sorry, I can't make it over. I said, if I have maybe like a little bit of time, but no guarantees, maybe we can have a cup of coffee or something, or meet up somewhere. But I'm sorry, I'm just so busy. So, and that's it. And it was hard, I'll be honest. Like, it was hard to articulate that and get that out and not feel a tinge of guilt, because that's there. I'm not going to say that that's not there. But I felt so good about that, because not only did I get to do what I got to do, I was able to do all the things, go shopping and get everything ready for that weekend and my boyfriend's son's birthday, but I was also able to feel like this is giving her an opportunity to see. And I grew up anxious. I'm an anxious person. So for me to see instances where I thought this was gonna ruin me and it didn't. I thought this was gonna scare me and it didn't, right? So those instances are really what builds your character, right? And what builds your ability to see, I was by myself and I did not, the house did not catch on fire and I did not get murdered, right? Like, I understand her fear, but I need to help her learn that it's okay, that it's okay. And I said, you know what, if you're scared and you need somebody to talk to, give me a call, I will chat with you on the phone, but I'm not going to drive over there just to hold your hand to make you feel like you're unsafe, because you're safe. And I kept reinforcing that with her. I said, you are safe. We have cameras. I'll keep an eye on them. Like, everything is okay. And it was a really good feeling to see, like, this is where I'm at now, and this is the progression that I've done. Giving my mom the ability to learn what she needs to learn and not being in that role of rescuing, and really stopping. And that's the key, honestly, is just taking that moment to pause when you get this new information. And maybe you don't say, because before I'd say something right away. I'd be like, oh yeah, I'll be there. I can go the whole weekend, without really stopping and saying, how does that actually make me feel? So what I encourage you to do, and what's been really helpful for me, is to take a moment, like just a little moment, to say, oh, I got something I got to do real quick, let me call you back, right? Just so you can be in a moment where you can just sit with your body and see what that scenario that you were thinking of doing makes you feel. And if it feels like heavy and you have you're getting anxious about it and you have a ball in the pit of your stomach, listen to your body. And it's not always easy, believe me. I'm so mind related, right? So I go straight to my thinking, but you have to sit with your body for a little while and say, okay, this is not making me feel good. So let me think through that. Why not, right? What do I need to process about that? And then if you set that boundary and you say, this is what I can do, that's what I can do, and that's it. I don't need a full paragraph explanation for why I'm going to do this. This is what I had scheduled. This is where my energy, this is what I can do. This is what I can deliver. So I can't entertain that right now. I'm sorry, you know, and that's fine. And it doesn't, and I'm here talking to you, you know, it didn't kill me, right? To say that to my mother. It was okay. And then life goes on, right? So now we're coming up to a new weekend this weekend and everything's fine. My mom survived the weekend by herself. You know, she had her animals, so that probably was helpful for her. But yeah, it's good. It's okay. It's okay. So I encourage you, again, if you have a situation where somebody asks you to do something, please just take a minute, sit with it, see how it makes you feel, and then decide how to go forward from there. But it takes practice. I will tell you that. It's not something that you can turn around because, again, we were brought up in a way that everybody's needs came before ours. We were the people pleasers. We are the the rescuers, really. Like, that's where your mind goes automatically. I don't want people to feel uncomfortable because growing up, I was, watching my siblings and I had to make sure everybody was good. And that's something that carries on with you. So you need to be patient with yourself, but you do have to practice it. Like, you're never going to learn how to, and it does feel weird the first times you do it because you feel really guilty and you feel really sad and it hurts. It hurts because it just is so against what you're so used to doing in regards to other people. Right? But it is so important because you will find so much peace. And that's what the journey that I'm on, I'm assuming the journey that you're on as well, to find just peace within yourself and, doing things that are in line with your needs and what you need, because that's important, right? That's ultimately where we want to be, somewhere where you're honoring yourself, you're making yourself seen, you're not being small, and you're not playing small because you deserve to be seen, heard, and all of the things. So we will end there. I'll meet up with you next week. I have a few ideas of some topics that I want to talk about, but I see you and you deserve all the good things. See you next time. Bye.